Crackers, they got preservatives in them. They don't go bad. So things that you can sustain yourself through the power outage. That's your big concern, power outage here. And some destruction. Now, emergency personnel, if you get into an emergency situation, you're home, and something happens, you tripped on something, you've fallen, and the winds are at 45 miles an hour, I'm calling 911. I can't get up. 911, can I help you? Yeah, I've fallen, I can't get up. I need someone to help me out. The oven's on and I can't get to it. Well, we can't help you. Because the winds are 45 miles an hour. We're not sending our emergency personnel out to get you and put them in harm's way because they got things to do after the storm. So that's another issue. So make sure that you have someone with you if you can. Also, the emergency radio, medication. You guys have medication. If you guys are on prescription medication, make sure you get that refilled. Most doctors will sign a refill order prior to the hurricane so that you can have an extra prescription. Because some of the Walmarts and the Walgreens aren't going to be open either. And there's not going to be a lot of people going to work. So make sure you have your medication ready to go. These are things that are covered in that book right there that you saw. As far as weather goes, we'll be on the hour when a storm is potentially threatening. So if you turn us on, and you guys can get us on through antenna in Highlands County, and you see me on at the top of the hour, and that's it. And then a few hours later, you turn on, and I'm at the top and the bottom of the hour. All right? And you wait a couple hours, and you see that I'm on the top, the quarter, the bottom, and the quarter. Okay. They're losing money because he's on, Bob's on, but also tells you, hey, this is getting a little bit more serious. So there are little tips, and I will say things that the National Hurricane Center isn't saying. I can say that this is going to be a big storm inland because it's so big. Folks in Highlands County, be aware of this one. Or if it's so small and it looks like it's going to move further north and we're going to get, a little brushier, I'll say it. I'll say it looks like it's not going to be too intense. It could still happen, but more and more it's trending this way. When the Hurricane Center made the adjustment down to Fort Myers, they still left Longboat Key and Anna Maria Island in this surge area of about 6 feet. And I'm thinking, that's not going to happen. They're hesitant to take that out right away because that storm could still do something, but I was fairly confident that storm wasn't going to be a surge in Anna Maria Island. And sure enough, the water pulled out. It dropped out. Tampa Bay just about emptied out. And it did during Irma. Irma, the storm that had an impact on you guys more so, actually pulled the water out of Sarasota Bay and Tampa Bay because of the winds rotating around it in this fashion. And we were getting all those winds offshore. So there's a lot of differences that go on. Stay tuned to the local stations. We'll stay there overnight, be there all night. One last story. I got my job because of a hurricane. I used to chase tornadoes in Kansas. And then Hurricane Elena came in 1985 during Labor Day. I wasn't here. I was in Kansas debating whether to go to graduate school. And I was doing road construction work in Douglas County, Kansas during that time of Elena. Boy, what a boring job. It was in the middle of a farm road, sitting on a cooler, and the drivers would have to honk their horn, hey, can we go? I said, yeah, go, there's no one down there. Look out for that tractor. And I sent my resumes out, because I had no broadcasting experience. I was a meteorologist. I was going to be working for the National Weather Service. But someone said, my professor, why don't you send some resumes out, small stations. I said, okay. I got a call from ABC 7, Channel 40. While I was out there, my foreman came up and said, hey, you got a call from a television station. I said, okay. I called her up, and she said, hey, we want to see a tape of you. I didn't know. You got to make a tape. All right, I just have my pretty picture on there. I figured that might be enough. So I went and made a tape at the college station. I made the tape. It took me 3 hours to get 2.5 minutes worth of good stuff. My parents happened to be coming down to Fort Myers. So they hand-delivered that tape to my boss, eventual boss, and said, "Can you please hire my son? He's thinking about going to graduate school." And we don't want to pay for that, too. So, got the tape. It was good enough. But before that happened, Hurricane Elena was threatening the west coast of Florida. There was a girl at ABC7 that was working, good-looking woman, not a meteorologist. She actually did Serta commercials, you know, the mattress commercials. So while she was doing her weather, they go, "No, let's take a look at this commercial." And it was her in a negligee on a bed or something, and it was really good. And then they had to come back to her doing the weather. It was Labor Day. She was on vacation. The storm was threatening. The boss called her up and said, "Hey, can you come in and cover the storm?" She said, "No, I'm on vacation. This is Labor Day weekend." By the way, that was my big break. They asked the people in the studio, who has done weather in college? Just one girl raised her hand. She had braces on. I'll do it. So at 11 o'clock on a Saturday, she said, she ripped the script and it said, "Hurricane Elena is heading west now, away from Florida. It looks good. It looks better for our forecast on Sunday." Well, what the station used to do is re-air that 11 o'clock newscast at 2 a.m. on Sunday morning, put new commercials in, make more money. Well, at 2 a.m., that happens to be the next advisory from the Hurricane Center. And they said, "Check that. The hurricane has stopped, and now it appears that it will be heading toward Florida." Well, here you turn on at 2 a.m., the winds are blowing on Longboat Key, and you tune us on and it says, "Oh, it looks good here. The storm's heading off to the west. There's no problem. The girl's saying." And then you turn on Tampa stations.
Evacuations are being issued from Longboat Key, Siesta Key, and much of west central Florida.
And you turn us back on. "Oh, the storm's going away. Not a problem." We got in trouble. When I say we, I wasn't there yet, but the FCC found out about the fact that they were giving bad information out on a life-threatening situation, and they were going to pull the license from that owner. And that station was being sold at the time for $40 million. The value of that station, if it lost its FCC, would have gone down to $4 million. So the owner thought, okay, they were told to hire a meteorologist. They'll get a cheap one just out of college from the University of Kansas. And lo and behold, I'm here because of that storm. So I've been down here ever since. Okay, guys, any questions you guys have in regards to that? Yeah.
Why are the spaghetti models so divergent?
Good question, and I'll tell you what it is. Why are the spaghetti models so different from one another? It actually is a good thing, because what you're doing is you're looking at all different computations. For example, the GFS and the European. During Sandy, the European was the only model to show it moving into New York. Only one. All the other ones had it moving to the right into Nova Scotia. So what the United States government did, and the meteorologists, they went and took that model data from the Europeans, and they realized that they pulled out one variable. That was from the polar orbiter of our satellites. They pulled that equation out, the storm went up to Nova Scotia. So it's all based on how much you put emphasis on certain things. 30,000-foot winds, how strong they are, how strong they're going to project. And that's why I say AI is catching up to that. It's going to figure it out. Each season they go through hindsight forecasting, and they put new information in to make sure that storm went the way it went. And then they can figure it out. Any other questions? You guys are all set? Good crowd